The untold tragedy of the Romanov sisters. The story of the Romanov sisters, Olga, Tatiana, Maria, and Anastasia, is often overshadowed by the grand tragedy of their family's brutal execution in 1918. As daughters of Tsar Nicholas II, the last emperor of Russia, they were born into unimaginable privilege. But beneath the glittering palaces and royal ceremonies, their lives were anything but fairy tales. Raised in a world of rigid formality, the four Grand Duchesses were taught to embody grace, humility, and unwavering devotion to their father, whom they called Papa. Despite their royal status, their mother, Empress Alexandra, insisted on a modest upbringing. They slept on hard cots, took cold baths, and mended their own clothes. This was partly due to their mother's deep religious beliefs, and partly because of the turmoil brewing outside palace walls. As Russia hurtled toward revolution, the sisters were largely sheltered from political strife. They spent their childhoods playing in the grand halls of the Alexander Palace, giggling over books, and forming a close-knit bond that earned them the family nickname Ma, a combination of their first initials. Yet even in their gilded world, they were not immune to suffering. Alexandra's obsession with mysticism and the infamous Rasputin cast a dark shadow over their lives. The sisters were fiercely loyal to their mother, but they also bore the burden of her increasing paranoia and ill health. The outbreak of World War I changed everything. The two eldest, Olga and Tatiana, served as nurses, tending to wounded soldiers and witnessing firsthand the horrors of war. Maria and Anastasia, too young to work in hospitals, visited injured soldiers to lift their spirits. These experiences forced them to grow up quickly, exposing them to suffering far beyond their royal existence. As revolution swept through Russia, the Romanovs were arrested in 1917 and placed under house arrest in increasingly grim conditions. Stripped of their titles, they were moved from the splendor of their palace to a life of cold rooms, meager rations, and suffocating isolation. Letters from their once loyal subjects turned to silence. The sisters clung to each other for comfort, but hope dwindled with each passing day. Their final months in Ekaterinburg's Ipatiev house were bleak. Denied medical care, they watched their father, the once mighty Tsar, descend into helplessness. They tried to maintain some normalcy, embroidering, reading, and dreaming of an escape that would never come. But by July 1918, their fate was sealed. The night of July 16–17 was a horror beyond comprehension. Led to a basement under the pretense of being moved, the entire family was gunned down by Bolshevik executioners. The sisters, having sewn precious jewels into their corsets, unknowingly created makeshift armor that initially deflected the bullets, prolonging their suffering. What followed was sheer brutality, bayonets, close-range shots, and chaos. Their young lives, filled with innocence, duty, and love, were extinguished in an act of violence that shocked the world. The Romanov sisters were not merely tragic footnotes in history, but victims of a changing world that had no place for monarchs. Their untold tragedy lies in the loss of what could have been. The stolen futures of four young women whose only crime was being born into royalty at the wrong time.